Oh, howdy all, grab yourselves a beer, it is time for some Path of Exile discussion. Today I wanted to showcase using Harvest Crafting in conjunction with the newly added divination card, the White Knight. And by the way, I'm looking to find out where this card drops. If you know, please put a comment down below. If you know its natural location, so not from a stack deck, not from a Diviner Strongbox. But trying to use this as a way to craft an extremely powerful endgame Crusader Explody plate. So Explody plate being a nickname players have for chests that have the Crusader exclusive mod, and killed enemies explode, dealing 3% of their life as physical damage. So a quick look at the mods that can roll on such an item. So this is the set of mods that can roll on body armors that are strength based, and an astral plate is strength based. So we have the core prefixes and suffixes, life, armor, armor block recovery, armor, pure armor, armor and life hybrid, and this mod, which thorns, which is going to come up a little bit. And then there's a whole series of suffixes. You'll notice that the mod group reduce physical damage taken, which contains the mods damping and numbing. These aren't actually very bad mods; they're quite strong, but they have the physical modifier as well. That's going to come up as being important. So the only things that have got the physical tag are one prefix and one suffix. Now we're going to jump down to the Crusader mod pool, and you'll notice that we have a number of different mods. With physical tag, we have physical damage taken as lightning, and also with the physical tag, we have enemies you kill explode, dealing 3% of their life as physical damage. Now this mod is a lot better than it sounds, trust me on that. We can go into why at another point in time, but it is very scalable, it deals a lot of damage, and particularly it also helps you with dealing with porcupines, because when you destroy this immediately destroys corpses, and that obliterates the porcupine spike effect. So yeah, really strong stuff. Now you'll notice that there's only 3 prefixes and 1 suffix that can roll on a Crusader plate that have the physical tag. And that makes it really easy to deterministically get that powerful mod. Not necessarily on a useful item, but just to get it on its own. And so what we're going to do is jump into the game client, turn in my set of divination cards to Navali, and see what we get here. So this is our astral plate. You'll notice that it is biased towards red sockets, as is to be expected from 120 armor, from 120 strength. 180 strength requirement item, and it's good to go. Now, first things first, of course, we want to hit it with some perfect fossils, because you want to get this out of the way before doing anything else. Otherwise, you will lose your opportunity to do so. I only have 4 of these. Haven't been delving that much this league, so for that reason, I'm going to use these 4 first and see how we go. 26. I'm going to call that good enough. Because I may not get better before we finish the process. So we've got enough quality on it, and now at this point what I'm going to do is scour it. Now I'm going to use Transmutation Orb and then as many alterations as are needed to get one of those physical mods that we don't want, that we basically are going to get stuck with at some point. So the physical mods are Reflex Damage and also the Damping and Numbing suffixes. So we're just going to have a quick look through here. That's not it. That's not it. Don't actually know all of the mod names, so I'm having to have a quick look at these. Here we go. That's... Okay, so this one's interesting. This wasn't what I was expecting to hit, but it will do. I've hit one of the physical mods. Not the one that I thought I might get, but I will take it. And at this point, I'm going to augment this item, hoping to hit damping or numbing, which I didn't, but that's fine. Now I'm going to throw a Regal Orb on this. If this Regal Orb goes adds a suffix, then I'm happy. If it adds a prefix, we're going to start over. So what we got there was we got a suffix. Perfect. So at this point, when I use various harvest crafting mechanics to add new physical modifiers onto this item, I'm going to need a total of 3 of them, and then we will have every possible physical mod. Because there is such a strong bias against getting the Explody mod, I'm probably going to need all 3. So let's jump over to the Sacred Grove at this point. And as always, when doing harvest crafting, read. Just make sure that you read these things very carefully. So we're going to augment an item with a new physical modifier. So we're going to go from 1 physical modifier to having 2. And we got a junk physical mod. We got our thorns there. That's fine. That was to be expected. Now, we're currently sitting on an item that has 2 suffixes and 2 prefixes. Rather than using an augment at this point, because I've got 2 suffixes, which I wasn't actually expecting to hit, I'm going to just craft a 3rd suffix on it. Any piece of garbage suffix will do. So I'm just going to put bottom tier lightning resistance on it, and then head back to the garden. And then we are going to augment a physical modifier. And the only physical modifiers that are possible at this point are going to be the ones we want. Or sorry, it's going to be the exact one we want. So be very careful. We're augmenting a magic or rare item with a new physical modifier, and this will be the Explody mod because there's only 3 possible prefixes that have the physical tag, and we have 2 of them already. Plus, there's no room for a suffix left. So there we go. At this point, we have enemies you kill explode, dealing 3% of their life as physical damage. This craft in previous leagues took an average of 4,000 alteration orbs in order to roll it on an item. With the harvest mechanics, you can guarantee getting it with, in this case, 2 augment an item with a new physical mods, but you might need 3 if you're a bit less lucky than I was. However, that is a hell of a lot cheaper than using 4,000 on average of the other mods. So, what are we going to do with this from here? Now we have a number of options. We could conceivably stick with it as a Crusader item. If we were to do this, what we would want to do is remove both the lightning mods. Now, there's the suffix modifier, the lightning modifier, I could just remove at the crafting bench. And then we would remove the 6% of physical damage from hits taken as lightning damage. That would be able to be done with a harvest craft that removes a lightning item from lightning modifier from an item. At that point, we would have space to add life onto the item, and our goal at that point would be to get a tier 1 life roll on the item. That's our first choice that we could do. The second option that we've got would also start the same way. So we would remove the lightning resistance modifier that I just crafted, and then we would remove the Crusader specific lightning mod. The reason we'd be doing it there would be completely different though. In this scenario, what we would be doing is removing that lightning modifier so that there is only 1 Crusader modifier on this item, and that Crusader modifier would be the Explody mod. At that point, we could then use an Awakener's Orb to combine this with a different chess piece that had desired mods. So jumping across into the available mod pool to have a look at some of the things you might want to consider. There's several different choices you could go with. One that I think is particularly good is that you could go with the Hunter mod pool. The Hunter mod pool will add percentage life into the pool, as well as you can apply an additional curse. And ultimately, which one of those 2 you're going to want is going to come down to your own personal preferences. Then, you can remove all of the suffixes from the item. There's a number of ways of doing this, but the most deterministic way is usually to use the bench craft to add prefixes cannot be changed, and then apply a scouring orb to the item. And then, if you augment the item with a new critical strike modifier, you're guaranteed to hit one of attacks or spells have plus percentage to critical strike. Both of those have great potential use to cast on critical strike builds. And so if you're looking to make a set of armor for a cast on critical strike build, but one that's a little bit unusual and that prefers to use an astral plate over a Val Regalia, then that's how you'd go about it. On the flip side, if you are looking to be super tanky, again, you've got the option of the Hunter Life mod, or you've got the Warlord Endurance Charge mod, which also comes in the same mod pool as Recover Life on Kill, which is a surprisingly good mod for a lot of builds. So you've got lots and lots of options for tankiness that are available in the Warlord mod pool. So you may choose to go down that route. Additionally, the Warlord mod pool has the generally fairly strong +1 to the level of all socketed active skill gems. Now that's something that is more for spellcasters, but there's certainly builds that will use that in conjunction with the Explody mod. There's plenty of them. So there are plenty of options available. You could also have a look into the various shaper mod pool, and again you've got spell crit, there, and you've got percent +1 to the level of socketed active skill gems. A couple of things I would be a little bit careful about though. Firstly, these mods that cause you to take physical damage as an element, these no longer stack with each other, so you can only benefit from one of these. If you're going to use one of them, it's my opinion that the best one is probably actually the Hunter 15% of physical damage from hits suffered as chaos damage. The reason for that is that in the current state of the game, it's actually easier to overcap, to massively overcap your chaos resistance than it is to massively overcap any of the other resists. And additionally, the hunters, characters that are running the Divine Flesh keystone will get a lot of benefit out of that. The Hunter's mod pool is also just really good in general. So that's something that you could seriously consider. A life-based character that has the Crusader Explody mod in conjunction with the physical damage from hits taken as chaos damage, and then either tier 1 life from the normal mod pool or tier 1 life from the Hunter mod pool. That's going to be a really, really resilient character. Alternately, you could decide that you wanted to, to have a look at some other niche option like nearby enemies are blinded. This is really a lot better than people give it credit for. Or something like increased effect of non-curse auras from your skills, which you can craft on with a Awakener's orb at 25% strength. So there's a lot of different options that you can go with once you've got the starting point. But I will just make a very important reminder that before you use an Awakener's orb, make sure that you read, reread exactly how those Awakener's orbs work. Otherwise, you might end up getting yourself burned and wasting the Awakener's orb. So the key takeaway from that is that this mod, this enemies you kill explode, dealing 3% of their life as physical damage, is a lot easier to force onto an item than it's ever been before, and all you need is those targeted exalts that deterministically add a physical modifier to an item. You can also use, you'll notice here the second option on this horticrafting station is remove a random non-physical modifier from an item and add a new physical mod. That can be used as well. In fact, why don't I just demonstrate what this will do? Because the prefixes are all physical, we are guaranteed that we will remove one of the suffixes at random and it will be replaced by the only physical suffix that is available, and that only physical suffix available is the one that causes you to take reduced physical damage from hits. So that's 2% increased physical damage reduction. That's the lower tier of that. That gives you a bit of a sense as to how you can use that in your crafting. If you've got any comments or questions, fire away below. Otherwise, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you have a good one.